So the first part of our training today is to discuss the King's and Queen's Peace, which is everyone's peace. So the topics we're going to cover, Mark, are common law, legislation, the elements before intervening. Therefore, you have every lawful and legal right to make inquiries as to the actions of the police about any incident. And we're also going to have some talking about some further resources, aren't we? So if I hand the paperwork to you, we'll make a start on common law, and I'll have a little drink of water, and I salute you.
Right. So firstly, the common law, it gives the right to any police officer or a private citizen to intervene. And you must have the belief that a breach of the peace, as defined in the common law, is either has or is about to occur, and it must relate to harm which actually has been done or is likely to be done to either a person or, in the intervener's presence, to the person's property. So at the moment, the only sanction the courts can do for breach of peace is what's called a binding over order, and that there is where you enter into a contract with the court. That now becomes the law about how you will uphold the peace and not repeat the incidents. There are far more specific things which are considered a breach of peace, such as causing alarm and distress, harassment, which we'll be talking about, and those are found in the Public Order Act 1986. The powers we all have are very clear, and we've said it's for any person. We all have the equal powers, and in the Criminal Law Act 1967, it says any person may arrest without a warrant. That's you, me, anybody. We all may use force. There are penalties if you assist an offender, and remember, one of the things we've been saying is that we need to stop turning a blind eye, and that includes harbouring people where we know. And the Criminal Law Act even includes penalties for giving false information, which is fraudulent, and we'll be going on to discuss that now.
Just to sort of bring this into a real world scenario then, the points you've made there is that each and every one of us has the power of arrest.
Absolutely.
If we believe there either is or there is likely to be a breach of the peace.
Yeah.
How does that fit then with the amount of, for want of a better word, protests or peaceful gatherings that we've attended? Is for the police to be there in the numbers that they are, is they're anticipating a breach of the peace then. And they have no right to do that. So
Absolutely.
the realistic amount of people that attend in numbers should be in proportion to the anticipated event.
Yeah.
So to find that when you've got some small gatherings, not just like the large gatherings that we've attended in London, there are small gatherings of 30, 40 people meeting locally, and yet there's just as many police that's there.
Yeah.
So that is an intimidating act in its own sense.
Causing, if we go back, that there is actually causing alarm and distress.
Absolutely.
And therefore the police, by doing that, are actually breaching the peace.
Yeah.
So, but that's absolutely right. The way it should work with the police is that if I breach your peace, somebody will call the police, and then they will attend the incident. So they shouldn't be in your face. They should be readily available as a precaution. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, but very important point. So that was the Criminal Law Act 1967, and it goes on and is reaffirmed in the 1984 Police and Criminal Evidence Act, that we can arrest without a warrant. And we can even use force to prevent somebody injuring themselves or being potentially injured by other people.
As long as it's considered to be a reasonable amount of force.
Yeah. So basically, it's been like this from time immemorial, where everybody, because we're all equal under the law and nobody's above the law, we all have the right to enforce the peace being upheld. So that specifically the elements before intervening, i.e. before I would intervene into a breach of peace, And the important thing here is from the police, order following is not lawful excuse. They must show a cause of action before they can intervene, and we'll be looking at this in more detail. And fundamentally answer the question, has somebody been harmed or has somebody threatened to harm another? So this is equally applicable to the police as it is to all of us. So all of us have every lawful and legal right to make inquiries into the actions of the police or any person in authority about any incident, because we're all equal under the law and nobody is above the law.
And I think we've seen this again many times where you and I have challenged the police to say we need to have details on this, what we deem to be probably an unlawful arrest, and therefore we've challenged and said to the police that you must inform us as members of the general public as to the actions that you've taken.
Correct. Yeah. And they are trying to use, I know it's their privacy, we can't talk to you. However, because we all are equal under the law, nobody's above the law, and we all have a duty, an obligation to uphold the peace and a right to ensure that other people are acting lawfully when they do intervene.
Good.
Great.
Great. Good start.